Okay, the OnePlus 9 and OnePlus 9 Pro are here, two of the most exciting new phones in 2021 for me personally, and let me say it, I love the look and the in-hand feel is just perfect. But at the same time, I was a bit concerned when I saw the battery size, 4500 mAh on both phones. And that's fine. It's not small by any means, but not quite the biggest out there. For example, the Galaxy S21 Ultra ships with a 5000 mAh battery. Of course, it's also a bigger phone. The Asus ROG Phone 5 has a 6000 mAh battery, and even the Galaxy S21 Plus has a larger battery cell, 4800 mAh. So how's battery life on the OnePlus 9 series? Hello guys, my name is Vic with PhoneArena, and it's been a week of non-stop testing and using the new OnePlus 9 and mostly the 9 Pro. And now we have completed our 3 battery tests: web browsing, YouTube video streaming, and 3D gaming, and let me show you the results. On the table, you have fully charged up and set to the same brightness level and ready to go the new OnePlus phones and some competitors. You have the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra, the S21 Plus, the iPhone 12 Pro Max, and then finally the smaller iPhone 12 Pro. And we kick this off. The test that you're seeing first is just browsing the web. Light use, casual use, loading the same set of web pages on every phone, and we have a script that automatically scrolls up and down, simulating real use. What's interesting is that the new OnePlus 9 Pro has an adaptive refresh rate that can go to super smooth 120Hz when you need it, but also drop down as low as 1Hz when displaying static content. OnePlus says this cuts battery consumption of the screen by up to 50%. So we should see an advantage of the Pro over the 9, the regular 9, which also supports 120Hz but just doesn't have that dynamic refresh rate. So let's see. We fast forward this test, which runs for long hours, and just as we speak, the first phone to tap out is the OnePlus 9 Pro, and nearly at the same time, the OnePlus 9, with 11 hours and about 4 minutes on both phones. And that's interesting, despite the difference in screens, we're getting the same battery test results. But it's also interesting for another reason, because on this test, even the small iPhone 12 Pro still has juice in the tank. So let's once again fast forward time, and the next phone to tap out is the Galaxy S21 Plus with a score of 12 hours and 11 minutes, which is a full hour better than OnePlus. Alright, let's keep on going and see which phone is next in line. So fast forward, and the next phone to die is the iPhone 12 Pro with a score of 12 hours and 35 minutes, which just shows that Apple does a great job optimizing its iOS and Safari web browser to deliver the most out of a relatively very small battery. So at this point, we have the 2 much bigger phones left. We have the Galaxy S21 Ultra and the iPhone 12 Pro Max. So which one of these has the highest score? Well, if you have watched our previous videos, you'll not be surprised. It's actually the iPhone that gives up first with a score of 14 hours and 6 minutes, which is a great score, but the real winner is the Galaxy S21 Ultra, which keeps on going and going until finally it finishes the test with 16 hours and 7 minutes on the clock. And here once again the results from this test in a chart. Okay, browsing is not something that uses a lot of battery, but what about watching videos? We have all phones once again lined up and ready, fully charged up, and we're measuring the time it takes to drain them. So let's unplug them and get them going, this time playing the same YouTube playlist on all phones with videos running at a 1080p resolution. Now, if you follow our tests, you probably already know that Samsung phones traditionally do great for video streaming, while iPhones are pretty underwhelming, they get lower battery life. So let's see the results here. Let's fast forward time so you don't have to sit through the whole thing playing, and stop right here. The first phone to tap out is the iPhone 12 Pro, and that's not a surprise. It lasted 6 hours and 48 minutes of non-stop playback, which is an okay-ish score, but not great obviously. So let's speed up time again, and with bigger phones left in the battle, it's the Galaxy S21 Plus that dies next with a score of 8 hours and 27 minutes. And you can see the divide with the smaller iPhone, it's quite big. Okay, let's see what happens next. Fast forward, and somewhat surprisingly, the iPhone 12 Pro Max bites the dust next just a few moments later at 8 hours and 37 minutes. Android phones here that are left definitely last longer for YouTube video streaming. Interestingly, while OnePlus phones performed below average on our web browsing test, they go strong with YouTube. And the next phone to die here is actually the Galaxy S21 Ultra, despite its bigger battery, with a score of 8 hours and 52 minutes. So let's leave this test running a bit longer, and again, both OnePlus phones finally die at about the same time, with a final score of 9 hours and 16 minutes, which is one of the best scores on this test that we have ever seen so far. So once again, let's recap the results and see all the scores in this chart. You can always pause it and take a closer look. Finally, we have a special test for the gamers. What's interesting here is that OnePlus is using a 5-layer heat dissipation structure so the phones can cool very effectively, which is probably the most important thing for sustained gaming performance and battery life. So again, let's cycle through the results. The first phone to die on this test is the small iPhone 12 Pro, which got a score of 6 hours and 46 minutes, while the bigger phones still have juice in the tank. Fast forward time until the next phone dies, and that is the iPhone 12 Pro Max, but with a much better score of just north of 8 hours. At this point, we're left with Android phones only. The Galaxy S21 Plus scores 8 hours and 36 minutes, and the Galaxy S21 Ultra lasts just a few minutes more at 8 hours and 40 minutes. What's interesting here is that once again, OnePlus phones perform very well, and finally, they finished the test with a final score of 9 hours and 6 minutes. So let's once again recap the scores here, and while the differences between these phones are not huge, the OnePlus phones actually do some clever things for gaming that allow them to last a bit longer. Okay guys, there you have it, the results of our battery test. It's interesting that we got identical battery results on the OnePlus 9 Pro and the 9. As to real-world use, I have been using the Pro for about a week, and I would say that battery life is fine, but not really great. And I usually have to top it up a bit earlier than the end of the day. But of course that all depends on your usage, and I personally found myself using this phone a lot more just because it feels so fast and new, of course. Anyway, this is what you can expect in terms of battery life from the OnePlus 9 series. Solid for watching videos and gaming, but a bit below the rest in casual use. So don't forget to also check out our charging test and camera comparisons for some really interesting stuff there. And subscribe to get our latest videos first. My name is Vic, this is PhoneArena, and I will see you around.